Happy holidays from Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse on Cottlesville Street in Uniontown, reminding you they will close at noon on Christmas Eve and reopen Monday, December 29th with regular hours.
Home Warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
This custom of Christmas is being brought to you by attorney Melinda Delarose with an office at 99 East Main Street in Uniontown. Best wishes for a joyful holiday season and a happy, healthy, and safe new year from attorney Melinda Delarose. For attorney Melinda Delarose, helping people with compassionate counseling, candid legal advice, strong advocacy, and professional commitment is what she does best. With an office at 99 East Main Street in Uniontown, attorney Delarose specializes in family law, municipal law, and general civil litigation, as well as personal injury, estate planning, probate, and more. For more information, call attorney Melinda Delarose at 724-437-3200, 724-437-3200, or online at delaroselaw.com.
Customs of Christmas.
Advent is a time when Christians prepare for the coming of Christ during the 28 days or 4 Sundays prior to Christmas. Many churches display a wreath encircling 5 Advent candles. The candles are lit sequentially, one each Sunday on the 4 Advent Sundays prior to Christmas. The first candle represents hope, the second peace, the third joy, and the fourth love. The 5th candle, or Christ candle, is lit on Christmas Eve. This special candle reminds Christians that Jesus is the light of the world. The celebration of Advent, another custom of Christmas.
Another custom of Christmas, brought to you by attorney Melinda Delarose with an office at 99 East Main Street here in Uniontown. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas, a safe and happy New Year, and a reminder not to drink and drive.
Look and you'll see there's a whole new Ford for you and me.
Ready, set, Ford. Thurby's Riverside Ford is pleased to announce the 2025 model year-end sales event going on now. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to upgrade your ride, this is it. For a limited time, get 0% APR for 60 months on some of Ford's most popular models. That's right, Explorer, F-150, Super Duty, Escape, and Transit vans, all with 0% for 60 months, no money down.
Looking for a great lease instead? We've got the deals for you and the inventory too. Lease a new 2025 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend for $399 per month, or for just $499 per month, lease a new 2025 Ford Explorer Active, F-150, STX, or Bronco Big Bend. Offer valid for 36-month lease with 10,500 miles per year. Ford financing required. Tax and license extra. First payment due at sign.
It's all happening right now, but hurry in. These offers won't last long. Stop in and see Joey, Jimmy, Sammy, or Ashley at Thurby's Riverside Ford, your presidential award-winning dealer located 1 mile past the casino at Nemacolin. Offer ends January 5th, 2026.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of John Marietta and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Fayette County Recorder of Deeds Office or Fayette County government. This program is privately produced and funded, and no county resources are used for its production or promotion.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was trucking up the highway, minding my own lane, with some dude in a Prius went and flipped me off. Guess my redneck hit him wrong. Seems like everyone these days is a ticking time bomb full of hate for folks like me who don't agree and ain't ever gonna change. And it gets me thinking, leave this long-haired country boy.
Hey everybody, this is John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly, and it's another Trump-tastic day in Fayette County. Today's show is being brought to you by Burns Krause Funeral Home, Thundering Hills Feed and Supply, Fayette County Recovery Storage and U-Haul, H&C Containers, Laser Brothers, Highline Motorsports, Humbert Sanitation and Septic Pumping, Fayette Structures, Country Motor Sales, Premier Auto Glass, Fayette County Mega Patriots Group, HPJ Radio, Mauser's Tire Center, Solid Foundation Ministries, The Ink Spot, HBJ LLC, Mung's Auto Body and Repair, Fayette County, and the Fayette County MAGA Patriots Group. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're getting back on track. Of course, the snow's got everybody walking a little bit, a few minutes behind right now. Please be careful out there because some of the sidewalks are still a little bit slippery. We don't need nobody having to go to the hospital for falling down. So let's get started. I'll tell you what, folks. Before we talk politics, headlines, or the mess of the world, let's talk about something older than Washington and stronger than fear. Let's talk about wisdom, courage, and faith. The good book tells us in Proverbs 4:7, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. That was Solomon talking. A man who had riches, power, and a kingdom at his feet, yet knew none of it meant a thing without the wisdom of God. Let me do that one more time. That was Solomon talking. A man who had riches, power, and a kingdom at his feet, yet knew none of it meant a thing without the wisdom of God. Solomon didn't ask for gold. He didn't ask for armies. He asked for discernment. And the Lord honored that request. Folks, wisdom isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about knowing right from wrong when the crowd is pulling you the other way. And then there's David, just a shepherd boy with a sling and a heart that trusted God. When Goliath mocked the armies of Israel, David said in 1 Samuel 17:45, I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts. No armor, no fear, just courage rooted in faith. David reminds us that courage doesn't come from the size or title. It comes from knowing who fights your battles. And Joshua, standing at the edge of the promised land with the whole nation watching him, God told him in Joshua 1:9, be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee wheresoever thou goest. That wasn't a suggestion. That was a command. Courage is obedience. When fear feels easier. And finally, thrown into the lion's den, broken not because he broke the law, but because he refused to stop praying. Daniel 6:23 says, no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. Faith like that doesn't bend to kings or threats. Faith like that stands firm, even when the cost is high. So this afternoon, remember this. We need the wisdom of Solomon to see clearly, the courage of David and Joshua to stand tall, and the faith of Daniel to trust God when the lions start roaring. That's the foundation. And from there, we can talk about everything else. I do have a friend on the line. He's waiting patiently. John, you with us?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I wanted to get through my introduction there, and John Diamond is with the John Birch Society, and he's become a friend of mine over the last couple years. We get to talk not often enough, but I wanted to have him on today because there's a lot of things happening in our country right now that we need to take a closer look at what God's trying to tell us to do and try to move forward with these things. I guess, John, you'd probably agree with me about that.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I'm glad that you opened up with all the scriptures and everything that you did. I mean, this country has really fallen since the 1960s, and it's a removal of God and faith from basically every aspect of society, government, schools, and everything else. And I've done most of my master's and doctoral theses on these types of studies. You realize that there was not one mass shooting in Ohio, in America before 1960, and I mean that just shows that there was guns taught in the schools. People would bring them and put them in the racks of their trucks and drive to school. The students were. It's basically just a removal of faith from people's hearts that allows this type of evil to just spread across the nation, and so I'm glad you brought all those scriptures up to begin with.
Well, the one thing that I want to, I have friends of mine that are Australian, and you see how that's working out for them right now. If somebody wants a gun or a sword or whatever to do damage to someone else, they're gonna find a way, and I've been blessed. I've got to be on Bondi Beach and enjoy that part of the world with friends of mine. But I think back about some things, and this is they took their guns away, and a lot of the police officers don't even carry guns. Same thing with Great Britain. I mean, me and you've talked about this too. So I'm gonna let you go. You go ahead and go to town, and I'll just keep asking you questions if you want to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, England. I think England's a nice case study because you have a Sandy Hook. Here, well, they did the same thing. That was all just a false flag. And it so appalled the people that all those children were killed that they all just willingly decided to give up their guns. And they don't understand that these are conspiracies. There's people behind this that want to disarm the people, that want to enslave them, that want to take their rights. And the only way to do it is most of the time people are just not going to willingly give it up. They got to be deceived into doing so. So most of the major events in world history have been manipulated false flags, whether it's, the Romans burning Rome and blaming the Christians, whether it's Hitler burning the Reichstag and blaming all his, opponents, the Jews and the communists and those who opposed his regime. I mean, that's the thing. And when you watch the John Birch Society has a 30-minute video called Overview of America. And it talks about this. It talks about how people use anarchy, not because they don't want a government, because they don't like the one that they have. So they will go out and they will be the one that initiates all this violence, and then the people cry out for help. Then who better to stop the violence than the people who did it themselves? So give us more power, give us more money, and we'll put an end to this, knowing that it was just an ends to a means. Our means to an end, and they were formulating the stuff themselves. So you just got to remember what Franklin said. Anybody who trades, safety for security for their freedoms for that are worthy of neither. And we can't be giving up our rights just for some kind of perceived temporary safety when it was just all contrived plan to begin with.
And you're exactly right. You're exactly right about that. This is and we have a lot of things to talk about. I started out with the guns because of just thinking about the Australian situation. But what else is the John Birch Society right now? What are you trying to what are we trying to do right now? I know you had some meetings today, and you want to go into some of that?
Yeah, I mean the John Birch Society was founded really as both an intelligence organization and an educational organization. So in other words, we know what the enemy's doing. We know what they're planning, what they're doing, how they're trying to do it, and then we just educate the people, exposing the globalists for what it is they're doing, and then we give them the solutions for how you stop it. And government and the Constitution is the way to stop it. Our founding fathers, made it very, very clear that the government was given very, very, very little power. And then, the rest of it remains with the people. Well, over 250 years, they've kind of slowly and incrementally through what the founders called usurpation, have slowly just basically taken over every aspect of our lives. I mean, from what you can watch to what you can eat to what plants you can grow to what chickens you can have. I mean, it's insane the amount of. I wrote a book back in 2006 called "Fighting the Next American Revolution." In it, I put, America is no longer America. America is now an atheistic, communistic, totalitarian police state wrapped in an American flag as a facade. And the people did not see it. They're just like, oh, we're America. We're the freest nation ever. And I'm just like, you guys are like a bunch of frogs being boiled in a pot. I mean, you don't understand what you never have studied. You've never been required to study in school, what this nation was founded on and what the founders believed. You don't understand how far we've strayed from the original intent of the founders for this nation. And I said, it's just going to take one thing before you guys realize it. Well, that all got kind of poo-pooed until COVID hit. And then they realized how free they were not. And if you think it was bad here in America, again, the other Western nations, Australia, Canada, England, they had it 10 times worse than we had it here. So understanding that this was a limited government that was created by the people, and that's one of our main things. We got a thing called the Blueprint for Liberty, which is, I believe it's a 13-part study that you can find on our website, jbs.org, that instructs people on the foundations and the principles of liberty and what it means and how it got started and what it was intended to do. So educating people on that. If you want to look at a couple of the programs, I mean, we've got all kinds of things from Save Your Children from public schools. But historically, we've been Get Us Out of the UN is one of the major things. Everything you're dealing with in this country is coming straight from the UN, including your children's curriculum. I mean, it comes right from the UN to our Department of Education, which is unconstitutional, and then it goes to your state board of educations, and then it comes down to your cities, and then everything, no child left behind, and all this nonsense. I mean, it's coming from the top down. So we really got to just sever that cord. We don't need to be part of any foreign entanglement, as George Washington said in his farewell address. So getting out of the UN and ending the Federal Reserve are two of the major platforms that we've been trying to work at for like 60 years now.
It sounds like the UN thing I completely agree with. I mean, we're funding it. We're funding what, like 60% of it or 70% of it? Did I have that correct?
Yeah. I know when Trump came in office, he threatened the rest of the countries of the world that they need to be pitching in more, because I think it was probably closer to 100% before he stepped in and got some of the other countries to step up.
Well, if you think about it, I know Germany poses they're in a spot in the world that is very strategic to the whole rest of the world. So, but we've protected Germany since 1946. I mean, you think about all the money that's went to Germany. I mean, we kept the Soviet Union out of taking over Germany till Ronald Reagan tore the wall down. I mean, until they decided to tear the wall down. And guess what? The people that were tearing the wall down weren't on our side of the wall. They were on the other side of the wall. When you think about that, this is where we're at. They weren't trying to stay in East Germany. They wanted in West Germany, and people understand what democracy looks like. And of course, some of our Democratic friends they don't understand that we do have a republic here. They think it's I think it's a democracy, but it is our whole founding thing is about being a republic, and that's what Franklin said when he walked out the door. He says, "We're giving you a republic. We're giving you a republic if you can take care of it." So you think about all these things, and what amazes me most about founding fathers is all this stuff is still relevant, and we're almost to 250 years. I don't know. You agreeing with me on this?
Oh yeah. I mean, everything comes down to it. And again, I would encourage everybody to just Google John Birch Society Overview of America. It's just a 30-minute video. But what it really comes down to is how much power does government have? I mean, you have a government with no power, and that's anarchy. And then you have a government with 100% power. And that's basically every other ism than Americanism. You've got fascism, communism, socialism, imperialism. I mean, it's just total government. Under what name, it doesn't really matter. People think that Hitler was right and the communists were left. No, they're all left. They're all for 100% absolute power, and they all had absolute power. It's just about who controls that power. So it's the same with the reason that the Puritans and them left England. It was because the king had pretty much absolute power, and they fled from that. They actually used the Bible to justify that. The whole divine right of kings is what they've called it. Is God put us on this earth, and you have to obey us or you're going to hell. And, it's really just a twisted interpretation of Romans 13, which I teach on extensively. And then that's why many of them left England, because they're like, no, that's not what that says. That's not what that teaches. So they came here and they didn't set up a king. If you ever read Thomas Paine's Common Sense, I mean, I think he goes on for like 4 pages how wanting a king is idolatry. And when Israel came out of Egypt and God gave them a government,
Exactly.
a lot of people think that Israel was a theocracy. Israel was not a theocracy. Israel was a republic. They were given laws by God, and they voted for their people. They voted for their leaders. And then as long as everybody followed the law, they were good. Well, then they started looking at the countries around them, and they started asking for a king. I believe it's 1 Samuel 8, and it's just like God's like, okay, well, look, they want a king, give them a king, because God gives us free will. He said, but warn them ahead of time, here's what's going to happen. And he said he's going to take 1/10 of this, and 1/10 of your fields, and 1/10 of this, and 1/10. They didn't have any taxation before that. They had the tithe they gave the odd, but they didn't have taxation that went to a government. And then the very last thing it says, and then you will become their slaves. And that's exactly what happens when you get all government power, is the people get enslaved to the government. And that's what our Declaration of Independence says. That's why limitations were placed on government here in America, is to limit government. The Bible is 100% clear that government does not have absolute authority. And you could go right through, the Hebrew midwives. You can go Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, Daniel, Mordecai, the apostles. You can go right through biblical history. It shows very clearly that God does not perceive that government has absolute authority over the people. And government's created for one reason, to protect our God-given rights. That's what the Declaration says. We've been endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, and to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. So sit down with your rep, sit down with your senator, and say, what is your job? And if the words to protect your God-given rights doesn't come out of their mouth, then they, quite frankly, have no business in government, because it is their only function.
You're exactly right about that. Well, I think here in Fayette County, our commissioners think their only function is to raise taxes and figure out how to spend more money. But anyways, we'll get into that another day with me and you. I really appreciate you calling in. I do. Is there anything else you want to, anything that you need to hit on quickly before we move on?
No, not really. Again, I'd encourage everybody to go to jbs.org, johnburkesociety.org. And look into us, look at all the resources we have. We do have a JBS chapter down there in Uniontown area, and we'd love to see you join with us in that. Okay, well, I thank you so much for calling in, John, and I guess I'll see you in about a week or so. I guess it'll be about 2 weeks from today. Yep. You'll be coming to Fayette County for a couple of different things that's going on, and I appreciate that. So, yep, and congratulations on your election, and we'll see you here in a couple of weeks. Okay. Hey, thank you so much. All right, God bless. Take care. Same to you. Bye. Bye. I tell you what, we got kind of a busy day today with some things going on, and we had to switch some things around. So John was gracious enough to switch and go first on the radio, but I have another good friend of mine that's I guess he's going to try to make it to Fayette County here in a couple weeks, but it's Chris Marola. And Chris, I don't know where do you want to start at, Chris?
Oh, thanks for introducing me there, John. Yeah, I wanted to start on what's going on with immigration. We're seeing a lot of violence. I think the news, of course, the mainstream media is not touching on this. Here's why we're seeing an enormous rise in violence. In fact, I'd say there's 3 negative consequences that have come about because of illegal immigration. And we really can blame the Biden-Harris administration for this. During that 4-year period when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were in the White House, they allowed 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants into our nation. They broke the law. They were supposed to enforce the law and enforce our border laws, so they committed a crime themselves by letting 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants into our nation. Okay, so this is what our federal government now says what has happened as a result of the Biden-Harris illegal act of letting millions of people illegally come into our nation. We now have, this is the federal government statistics, they're estimating 1 million, that's 1 million people who are criminal aliens. So 1 million illegal immigrants have criminal records, rape, murder, child molestation, drug trafficking, human trafficking of even children, sick, twisted, horrible stuff. 1 million of the 15 to 20 million are criminal aliens. On top of that, this is coming from the Trump administration, their research, 18,000 of these illegal immigrants have ties to terrorism. Just like the man who shot those 2 West Virginia National Guard soldiers, he had ties to terrorism. He never should have been allowed into the country. He overstayed his visa, and so the Biden administration has brought this hell upon our country. So that's the first problem with this immigration issue caused by the Biden-Harris administration. The second one is
well, I think we lost.
Always concern. I'm sorry.
We're getting a lot of noise or something. I'm not trying to. I'm losing you back and forth.
Oh, you're not hearing everything I'm saying?
Well, it's kind of like we're getting wind or something.
Okay. Well, let me. Can you hear me better now?
I think you'd be better off. Are you talking through a speaker?
I am.
Can you go right into the phone?
Well, I'm driving, so I'm kind of stuck here.
Okay.
Let me turn the volume up. Is this better? Can you hear me better?
Well, it's a little bit better. Go ahead.
Okay. The left's always talking about their concern for children and the downtrodden. The Biden administration lost track of 300,000 illegal immigrant children, and some of them were found doing slave labor on marijuana farms in California. Crazy stuff. Some of them were actually, John, pimped out into sex trafficking. Disgustingly horrible things. And this, again, all the fault of the Biden-Harris administration. Now, the Trump administration, in less than 1 year, has found 62,000 of those 300,000 illegal immigrant children who were lost by the Biden-Harris administration. So that's 2 major problems: the violence and the criminals, the missing children, all caused by the Biden-Harris illegal immigration problem. And the third thing is welfare benefits and healthcare benefit fraud. Okay, this is becoming huge now. This is becoming a huge problem. The expense of all the welfare programs is showing itself in the debt and the deficits. And this is the cost of illegal immigration. For instance, we're finding out a veteran journalist by the name of Jon Fund said that the Government Accountability Office, so this is the Trump administration, estimates that our federal government made $528 billion with a B in improper payments to illegal immigrants and others just in the year 2021 and 2022. $500 billion of welfare benefits and things of that nature were given to people who were not supposed to have them. $500 billion just in the year 2021 and 2022. What do you think about that, John?
Well, and to go back, none of this money's ever going to be recovered. I mean, it's gone. It's gone forever, and that's the one thing that's appalling about all this. It isn't like that you could go back and seize things that were bought with this money. It's just gone. And when you talk about, the other thing is, you talk about 62,000 children that come up missing. That I've heard 3 different numbers, and that's probably the most conservative number I've heard so far. And I didn't know where you was going to go with that, and that's why I wanted to make sure everybody could hear you. But they 62,000 children that they know of came into this country, and they just disappeared. Now think about what we're saying. The
300,000 are the missing children. The 62,000 are the ones that the Trump administration found.
Yeah. Oh,
so
okay, that's that. So we're actually missing 300,000. Okay, now I understand what's going. Now I understand 300,000.
Yeah.
They're missing, but with the efforts of the Trump administration, they've been able to locate 62,000 of these children.
Yeah, exactly. And some of them were found working slave labor on marijuana farms in California. Others had been pimped out as sex slaves. Horrible, evil, disgustingly brutal things, all caused by the Biden-Harris administration, who broke the law by not enforcing our border laws and allowed 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants to come into our nation. And so there's those three things that have been caused by the Biden-Harris administration's weak, feckless, horrible policy of allowing 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants. One is an increase in violence, horrible violence, missing children that we mentioned, and the benefit fraud. In fact, the Trump administration, in order to get control of all the waste and spending for welfare benefits and SNAP, which used to be called food stamps, it's now called SNAP, he's required the states to give a record of who's receiving health care and SNAP benefits. So 29 of the 50 states complied with Trump administration and said these are the people receiving benefits, welfare benefits, health care benefits, and SNAP benefits. 21 blue states did not comply with the Trump administration. They're not giving information to the Trump administration to demonstrate who is collecting SNAP, who's collecting Medicaid, who's collecting welfare benefits. These are 21 blue states. What do you think they have to hide there, John?
Yeah, but what do they have to hide? I mean, it's probably multifaceted. Did out of curiosity, was Pennsylvania one of the ones that complied?
I don't know that, but I have to look into it. But probably because our governor is not someone who's going to comply with the Trump administration very easily. So you're probably, it's safe to say yes, but I don't know for sure. But I do know this. In Minnesota, okay, what they found is a massive fraud with the SNAP benefits, with the food stamp benefits. Between 1 and 7 billion with a B. 1 and 7 billion. So between 1 and 7 billion dollars was wasted by having what used to be called food stamps, now it's called SNAP, being given to illegal immigrants who use that money to buy houses, to buy luxury cars, to go on vacation, to take their family out to expensive steak dinners, and even worse, some of that money ended up going to terrorists in Somalia. So when you hear Trump saying how angry he is with Somalia and saying some harsh things about Somalia, that's why, because the Somalia, I guess you'd call them community in Minnesota, we're finding that 50%, one half of the Somalia immigrants in Minnesota are illegal immigrants. And they're taking billions of dollars away from welfare programs, from food stamp programs, Medicare, Medicaid programs that are supposed to be used for American citizens, wasting it on things like luxury cars and homes. This is supposed to go for poor kids and poor families, and they're using it on themselves, and some of them sent the money to actual terrorists in Somalia.
I have a friend of mine right now in Somalia, and he messaged me every couple of days, and he told me it's very bad over there right now with a whole bunch of things. I guess the UN has a contingency right now that's trying to de-escalate things, but it's just like there's all these different tribal leaders over there, and they're all fighting for the same thing. They all want power.
Yeah, it's a really bad situation It is a third world country. There's a lot of war and fighting going on, and some, not all, some of these illegal immigrants that are in the Somali community were giving money and benefits that they were receiving to take care of themselves, which, by the way, was illegal because they're illegal immigrants, but they were giving some of that money and benefits to the terrorists. So it's just unbelievable how bad this has become. The fraud, the waste, the abuse. Remember, the political left likes to say that they care about the little guy or the little woman, or they care about the working class, and they care about the downtrodden and the poor. Money, billions and billions of dollars that was supposed to help poor people, poor children, was wasted on people who use it to buy luxury cars and homes and take vacations and send it to terrorists in Somalia. This is horrible, John. So this is why Trump is being so tough on illegal immigration, because we got to crack down on the violent criminals. We got to crack down on the waste, fraud, and abuse in our systems, whether it be welfare or health systems. And we also have to crack down on finding those children, those 300,000 that the Biden administration lost. So there's good reason why President Trump is taking such a hard line on illegal immigration. I'm sure you agree.
I do, and I want to tell you that we just got back from I was on vacation. We just got back from some of the islands in the Caribbean, and you see all this stuff that's going on, and of course I walk off course. That just happens to be me. My wife yells at me for not staying where I need to be, but these countries are so poor, and
right,
and without and what happened with the Chinese plague or COVID, however you want to call it, it's put these countries a decade behind, and they're trying to catch up. And you think about all these poor people trying to do what they need to do to survive. We don't have no idea what here in the United States, and what it's like. And when you see what the president's trying to do is stopping the drugs and getting all these things coming into the country, we have to really think about all these things. We have to. I mean, you have to do a visual of all of it to see.
Oh yeah, and if Minnesota has seen between $1 and $7 billion of fraud from illegal immigrants from Somalia, and that's just one state. What about the remaining 21 states, the blue states, that will not comply with the law and will not give President Trump's administration all the data on people receiving welfare and SNAP and Medicare and Medicaid? So they're hiding something. It's probably the fraud. It has to be. And I'm sure there's also some voter fraud going on as well. That's a speculation, but it's very likely. It's likely. I can't say 100% for sure because it hasn't been discovered yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if voter fraud is part of the problem. So there's a lot going on. And so, yeah, Trump is taking a hard line on illegal immigration. He speaks pretty boldly about it because he sees the waste, the fraud, the abuse, the violence, the 300,000 kids that the Biden administration lost, that are being mistreated. Some are working in slave labor. Some have been pimped out into sex slavery, sick, twisted stuff. So this is why he's taking such a hard line, because these people are being abused and mistreated, and our money is being used in a fraudulent way. We're not helping poor people get out of poverty. We're giving money to illegal immigrants. We're using it to take vacations and buy luxury homes and luxury cars. So there's a whole bunch of problems created by this illegal immigration situation that the Biden-Harris administration gave to us.
Well,
and so that's...
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Without a doubt. I remember back in early 2000s, I had a chance to do a contract with it was we was in the meat business, and they wanted me to help them negotiate a contract for halal. I don't know if you know what that means, what that's about or not. I didn't understand quite exactly what it was all about, but I told them, I said, there's something wrong with this whole situation. Well, it seems like this halal was generating money to be sent back over to the east, over to the Muslims that was over in the other parts of the world, and I felt real uncomfortable about it. So I told him, I said you're gonna have to find another meat packer to go to, because I wasn't comfortable with it, and everybody thought I was crazy, but then I found out later that I was right, and people come back to me and they thanked me for doing what I did. But anyways, that's another story. That's another part of what went on in my life. But I told these guys, I says, these people are going to burn you, and somehow, and I just don't know how it's going to be. But I was very, very, I was very, very cautious about what I did with them, and because I could see where the money was flowing.
Sure. And to be clear, we're not against Muslim people. We're not against people from Somalia.
No.
We're not against people from South America. We're against the misuse of our laws and our programs
and our money
being given. Yeah, and our money. Yeah, and the crime and the kids being pimped out in sex slavery. We're against the mistreatment, the horrible mistreatment of people, both in America and in third world countries, who send their people here illegally, and then they get exploited. So no one's being helped by this. Instead of lifting people out of poverty, where people are being exploited and mistreated and abused, and crimes are being committed, people are being shot, all these things are happening. If you want to come to America and immigrate here legally, we welcome you with open arms.
Well, all of our ancestors did that. I have a good friend of mine, his family was from Scandinavia. It was one, I don't remember which country it was, but I mean, his great grandfather came here. They came over on it, and he worked. My great grandfather actually was a blacksmith, and when he got here, there was no job for him, and they didn't know if they were going to let him in the country or not. And somebody stepped up to sponsor him, and he ended up being a stone cutter at one of the industrial places here in Fayette County. They were mining limestone, and he ended up being a blacksmith in the end. But they weren't going to let him off the ship. They weren't going to let him off out of immigration until somebody stepped forward and sponsored him. And you think about that, and maybe things were strict, and I'm sure there was corruption that went on in them places too. But we got to do something about this. If you want to come here, Ronald Reagan said it right. You can in any other country, American can't become a become a Frenchman. They can't be British. They can't be Australian. But one thing about it, all the people from all them countries can come to our country and become Americans, and that's the difference. And I think we're on this dual citizenship thing. I think some of the senators and legislators, at least a couple of them, are on to something here where we need to shut this down, because how can you have dual citizenship and you're using it to funnel money back and forth?
Yeah, what's happening with the dual citizenship, you have people who grew up in other countries, and they come to the United States and they retire here, and they're collecting Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, and they never paid into the system. So again, they're stealing money from people who grew up here and have paid with their taxes. It's no wonder we have a $38 trillion debt. I mean, look what's going on. So that's theft. So again, my parents were Italian immigrants who came here after World War II when they were children. They lived through World War II. The U.S. Army liberated their town from the Nazis and saved their lives. They came here and they worked their tails off. So if you come to the United States and you want to immigrate legally and you want to assimilate into our culture rather than take over the culture, that's what you were referring to with Ronald Reagan's quote. that people, when they come here, they should embrace American culture. If you do that and you work hard and you play by the rules, people will embrace you. But if you come here illegally and then you're, wasting money and then getting involved in crime and you're putting kids into slavery, labor slavery, and sex slavery, this is insanity. So it has to be reined in. That's why Trump is taking a hard line. And yes, there are senators who are now saying we're going to end dual citizenship because people growing up in other countries are coming to the United States and retiring here and living off of our Social Security, our Medicaid and Medicare, and they never paid into it. So that's why they want to end dual citizenship. So this has to be reined in, or else we're not going to have, our debt is beyond comprehension as it is, and our laws are being trampled upon. We won't have a civilization if we don't obey our laws and make sure that these benefits go to Americans who've paid into the system.
Well, we got a few minutes left, Chris. Did you want to say anything about your upcoming event?
Yeah, on January 16th, the Faith and Freedom Coalition is hosting an event in Beaver County. We're having Senator Bernie Moreno, who is one of the men sponsoring the bill to end dual citizenship, to stop the waste and fraud and abuse when people from other countries retire here and take our money. He's trying to end that. He's going to be speaking. So will Stacey Garrity, who's running for governor, and so will my boss, Ralph Reed. It's in Beaver County. If anyone wants to know about this reception, they can email me at chris@paffc.com. That's CHRIS at paulanthonyfrankcharlie.com. chris@paffc.com, and I'll get you details about this reception.
Yeah, well, you get me the details, and we'll get it up on social media for you. We'll help you out with that. Maybe you have a flyer that we can push around for you. I guess I don't want to say this. Well, tentatively, I'm planning on being there. We'll see what happens between now and then with some things, but I do plan on going up to Beaver County. So, and it'll be a fun evening.
Awesome.
So, anything else you want to lay on us in the last? We got about a minute left.
Yeah, just that we need to see the big picture. The reason President Trump takes a tough stand on these issues is he sees people being abused and mistreated, and he sees our laws being trampled upon, and he sees our benefits and our system being exploited and people being harmed. And so it's easy to see why he gets upset, because people are being treated horribly, including the illegal immigrants. Some of them are being treated horribly, including these children that were lost. So there's a reason why he's taking a tough stand, and we should do our research and find out why our president is taking such a tough stand.
Yep. Okay, Chris, it was wonderful having you on. I appreciate it. We'll get you on again probably after Christmas. You have a nice Christmas, and I'll be talking to you in the meantime.
All right, thank you.
Take care. Okay, hey, sure. We got about a half a minute left, and we got to shut down on time today. I want to thank everybody for all the help we've done this year so far, and next week we're going to do our annual Christmas show, and I think the sheriff's going to be here with me. So, on this road called life, you have to take the good with the bad, smile with the sad, love what you got, and remember what you had. Always forgive, but never forget. People change, things go wrong, but just remember the ride goes on. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. I am John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly.
And this is your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick.